Hello, everyone, and welcome back to round 21, the final game of day 3 of the 2022 Scrabble Players Championship. I am Morris Greenberg, and I'm here with Chloe Fatsis and Annette Oberstad. Chloe, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for this game. Two great players from Texas, so it'll be interesting to see how this one goes down.
Yeah, we've seen both these players on stream, although Annette pointed out before the last round that we only kind of saw Ori on stream.
Yeah, we didn't really get to watch a whole game with him, so I'm excited to actually get to watch him play now. Because this is technically my first time watching a full game of him, hopefully.
Yeah, so I've played both these players before. Annette, I assume since you're newer, you haven't, but Chloe, I've taken you've played some of them too.
Yeah, I've played Joey a couple times now. I think 3 times in tournaments. Yeah, he's a really good player. He plays very quickly, faster than a lot of other experts, but knows the words very well, and just has been playing Scrabble. He played in school Scrabble as a young kid, so he's been around forever and super experienced. And Ori as well. I think he's the second seed in this tournament, so. Yeah, it'll be a great game. And Ori bingos immediately with what is that?
Retotal.
With retotal. There it is.
And I think retotal might also be good, although definitely call me out, chat, if I made that.
Yeah, that
up.
I don't know.
So Joey has a P.
Forget.
Yeah, those read a pre words are always tough to remember. Oh, pre-total, not acceptable.
No pre-total.
So.
I'm sure you could get away with it against some people, though.
Yeah. I need to be playing Michael Fagan right now, apparently. Michael is in first place, though, so I shouldn't be talking smack.
Yeah, he must have, upped his challenge games tournament, maybe.
Yeah, bad rack there for Joey. He's just trying to play through it by playing off his crap.
Yeah, 3 eyes. He's not going to be too happy about that. And
yeah.
Hilly does not score very much, so he has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, it is an interesting
Ori
choice.
Did draw.
I was going to say, it is an interesting choice because TP was also available for 4 more, but Joey decided to fork the board a bit more instead. Forking, all we mean by that is opening spots on 2 separate sides of the board. So he can now play a 7-letter word, making 2 2-letter words with the P and the I in Pilly, and he could also extend Pilly to Pillies, or I think Pilia might also be a word. So that is definitely, I think, a more offensive option for Joey, and it could allow him to get back in the game.
Yeah, Pilia is no good.
Oh, shoot. I'm doubly off?
I had to look it up. I'm like, I don't know that one.
You got
sorry.
Cilia with a C and Milia.
Yeah.
So
apologies.
there's some.
I'll stop guessing words, I guess, at this point.
And yeah, Ori drawing 7 consonants. Oh wow, and Joey has a huge big O for next turn, but he's gonna be able to play aquifers.
Nice.
But yeah, first Ori needs to get rid of some of these consonants. No great options. LOTH through the O and retotal scores decently. Yeah, he could also play half through the A and retotal, which would block aquifers and probably slightly more defensive. It doesn't take an S and closes the Pilly's hook.
Yeah, I think I like that. That looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
And the chat points out Pilia, P-I-L-E-A, is the word that I was thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that, apologies. I was mixing and matching.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
So he goes with hold. That's interesting. I guess with an I, he can play Zenith through the E and retotal, but that doesn't... Yeah, I wonder if that's what he's thinking or just likes the synergy of PH. But yeah, Joey instantly playing aquifers.
Sees this bingo right away. Wow. A lot of points. That's huge.
That?
Yeah, I mean, it's lucky
133. Dang.
Yeah, it's lucky he was up by 70 because he's now only down a bingo.
Yeah.
To go from that first rack Joey had with 3 eyes to a 133-point bingo is not what you'd usually expect.
Yeah, so there are a lot of interesting options here. I mean, Hazan was the word that came out to me right away. Obviously, a hold is a word that can, right, the A can go in front of the H. But another awesome word is Ratani, Rhatany, and that would keep the Z and set it up, actually.
Oh, wow. That is not a word I knew.
That is an awesome play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that one either. But yeah, if Ori sees that and notices the Z setup, that would be very, very smart.
So, interestingly, he plays it for 4 fewer points and not set up the Z. To be fair, a lot of letters can go before the A. But, yeah, it's curious.
I think, at the deficit, I think it's definitely worth taking the gamble with the setup, even though it's not the best setup because, like you said, it's getting blocked somewhat often, scoring 4 extra points as well. Yeah, he might have just played too fast there.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I feel like that's the kind of play Ori would think very nuancedly about and have his reasons for playing for 4 fewer points. But especially with 7 random tiles from Joey, just because he got a bingo the previous turn, I would go for the higher point riskier version.
Yeah, I think when you're down, you have to take those risks.
So we'll see what
and Joey
Ori
very
does.
quickly played bomb. Yeah. I didn't even see what he kept with bomb, but it seems like he consonant-heavy rack scores well.
Yeah, and just to be clear to the chat, even though we might have said throughout these broadcasts X-bomb, Z-bomb, J-bomb, Q-bomb, etc. to describe picking up certain letters and playing them shortly, none of those are actually valid words. There are no front extensions to bomb. So, but one tile that could matter based on bomb is the C, just because MYC is a word, and so the C, both are still available, and you could have a nice underlap play, because 1 and Ono are both words as well. But Ori's going to be played Dozier here. Pretty natural play, I think. You might choose Iodize for 2 fewer points off the I in Aquifer, if you want to get rid of the same letters and create more lanes. But I think Ori is just kind of letting the game unfold slowly and trying to cash in and open it up at the right time.
Yeah. And Joey has a really ugly rack of more consonants. He should be able to dump some of them with something like frown or... Oh, wait, does he have an E? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, he can also play
he has an E.
During the through the O, keeping his E.
Yeah, I think new probably just scores too much.
Yeah, I guess that does score way more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's still deciding, but it looks like he's now laying down new. Yeah. I know in some of these situations, so if there were no A's out left, for instance, playing any W to set up the K could be an option, but since Anu is a word, it's pretty natural to play the K as well there.
Right. Yeah. And it's immediate. It's an immediate 20-point sacrifice. So that's kind of hard to stomach, even if the A's were gone.
Yeah. It looks like Ori still has a few more turns before he's going to be able to bingo here with the draw that he picked up.
Yeah, although, if he just plays off the X and then draws into DJs, that's always fun.
Yeah, should be able to score pretty well for a couple turns, though.
Yeah. What can he do here? X, yeah.
Yeah, so X plays parallelly. Yeah, making any Dex and O as an option. He could even keep 1E if he wants to play the other kind of X'd, like X'd out XED. That is a valid word in Scrabble. So he might
this does block better plays through the K, though, if you do play off the other E.
Yeah, especially I'm trying to think. I guess sext is a word, so you could make a four-letter, right? You could play sext and like marks or something on a future
Yeah.
turn. So that would be a hefty score, but you would burn nest though.
Yeah.
So
He goes with, yeah. Oh, he went with keyed instead, keeping both the J and the X, which is JX blank is quite the lead.
Yeah.
So I wonder what his thought process was there.
Probably just that he can keep scoring for a couple of turns and then bingo later.
Yeah, take advantage of all the scoring spots. Yeah, X didn't block the K, so he might have thought that Joey would be scoring their next turn and want to take out that option while still keeping his own scoring tiles.
Yeah, I will say though it is interesting because last game we saw of Ori, even though we had to cut the stream, Ori was going more towards fishing and fishing for bingos. We can see here he's opting more for keeping high scoring letters and playing them off slowly. So I think it really speaks to this isn't a person who's stuck in their ways. They really try to situationally adjust based on what they think the strategy calls for in a specific game.
And I think in the score of this game, too, it's important to not fall too far behind.
Yeah, and so we'll see how he kind of progresses with the rest of these letters. I guess Jinx is an option through the I and Dozier. That would be interesting. I'm wondering also if by playing Keyed, was he going for Jockeyed as a possibility, or Monkeyed for that matter is now a potential thing that I guess no, there are no M's left after Cram. So
yeah,
but yeah, there are front extensions to Keyed.
And he plays Gion, which is also makes some sense to keep the X for scoring again, just maximizing those scoring tiles.
I do think this time, though, I would play off the X and play Jinx instead if you saw it.
Yeah.
Just because you're just gonna bingo so often after that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and we can see actually
being down, you want a bingo.
Yeah, and Joey's now getting closer to a bingo. I mean, a few days ago, we saw the potential for non-sugar, which is almost there to the R in Cram. One tile off now, but that just kind of shows you the possibilities. And Gion's also a pretty risky play in some ways because
it does set up the snow hook.
Snow and Enow also is a word.
Oh yeah, Enow too.
Yeah.
No is the other one with a K, but the K has been played off. Otherwise, yeah, you probably wouldn't want to do that if you think your opponent could have the K. But Joey elects for a nice play of Guano.
Which is pretty defensive. It cuts off the lane under Keyed and the lane down to Philly.
Yeah. Sets up the K column, plays parallel to Guano, but
that's
I think
not
long
as easy
term
to hit,
he can start to maybe use up some of these lines. Yeah. And Ori picked up the second blank and some clunky tiles, but he should be able to score playing AX.
It
and
seems
keeping
like that's what he
two
did.
blanks, even though he keeps the F and the V, which typically aren't good for scoring. There's a lot more of a chance of him not good for bingoing. There's a lot more chance of him hitting a bingo holding on to two blanks. So still
he just needs to draw a couple of owls here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, something like Fevering was possible through the E and retotal after his leave, even if FNV blank blank seems like an awkward leave.
Right.
So,
it doesn't look like he got the best draw there.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he just plays off some of that clunk, he should be able to get a bingo down pretty soon. Joey didn't get the best draw himself for the VU combo, which is just terrible.
Yeah, he wished that R in Cram might be floating somewhere else to play Colverts. But Colver is a word that could be a nice option, just because the C is such a restricting tile as it doesn't have any 2s in the NWL dictionary. It keeps ST as a leave. It does a lot of things right.
Yeah, I think that seems like the right kind of play in Joey's position. Up 20, you just sort of want to limit your opponent's options as much as you can while still, sort of protecting the board long term and scoring enough points to maintain that lead.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just trying to look for a word down from now there. if he finds anything starting with S or E, but he's going to give up on that after a while.
I think if there was something.
Sorry, I didn't mean to continue, Chloe.
No, go. No, Morris, you go.
I'm wondering if he's also considering blocking off the S and Aquifers. We saw the last time Joey played, he made at some point just a very board clogging move that kind of ended suspicion for like the last key lane. That lane is just so easy to hit compared to any other lane on the board that you might even consider sacrificing a few points here to play something like Clues, or I'm trying to figure out other plays that could, maybe even Love's LUVS, keeping CEST. That would be the kind of play, but he goes for QV. It gets rid of more bad letters and scores a bit more, but it does keep that S lane open. It blocks the E at least, though.
Yeah, that seems fine.
I think
to
that's
me.
sort of in the middle. Blocking A lane, keeping a slightly better leave. So yeah.
I'm interested to see what Ori is going to do in this spot.
Yeah, so I mean, one option for him is to start opening the left side of the board because he's going to want to dispose of his V most likely this turn. Something like Avo off the A in Guano creates another set of lanes that Joey has to think about. If you're Ori here, he's done a good job cashing in on all of those power tiles he drew, and to get him within a bingo, where if he gets a bingo, he'll have a clear lead. So he now just wants to create a situation where he can be the first bingoer.
Yeah, I do like opening there, like you said. I think that seems like a decent play.
Yeah. I might try to score a bit more points here. I think holding on to both blanks, having the lane next to Gion, making Snow or E now, and also the S, those are pretty hard to block, both of them. So if there's a way he could score a few more points to get, a solid lead once he gets his bingo down. The problem is there's just nothing that scores very well.
Yeah, and if you are going to score more points, you're probably keeping both the V and the F.
Right.
Yeah, and so the chat points out that Joey, I think, blocked his own piece of light last turn. Someone also in the chat thinks of Vid off of Dozier to potentially set up Avid. It's a hard play to make just because there are 3 A's unseen. I guess you have both blanks, but after a play like QV, Joey could definitely be keeping an A with that. Those are just really clunky letters that you can kind of put Joey on a whole range of different potential letters.
Yeah, I think it's also not super likely that his bingo will have an A in the first or second position. It could happen, but that's still a gamble. And if that didn't happen, and or Joey had the A, I think it's not quite worth it. But,
right. I think it's going to be easier to bingo from now than it is to put an A in that spot, especially since you don't even have an A in your rack.
Yeah, the chat, I guess, is responding back to us saying, well, you don't have the S for Snow or the E for E now either. Why Vid for the A? The issue is words that start with S and E, they definitely can be things, but most of the time those are going to be bingos anyways, and you'll lose anyways in those situations. The worst case scenario for Ori here is if he plays Vid, there are a lot of 7s.
And he does play Vid.
As he does do it. It just does open up the possibility for a lot more types of racks that will now lose.
And it's also not that hard to block Avid here. If Joey has an E, he can just play E now and put another letter there, and it's pretty much blocked.
Right.
Lucky for Ori, he doesn't, though.
Yeah, it looks like Joey has Topi aligned on his rack. That should go parallel to the A and O and Guano making at, no, and pop.
That scores pretty well.
Yeah, and it really starts to siphon off that part of the board. So
yeah, I think that's exactly what Joey wants to do here.
Yeah, but Vid should give him pause. I mean, even though we know Ori doesn't have an A there, he has to think there should be an A. So I understand it's a logical play in a vacuum, but I'm surprised Joey didn't take a bit more time. I mean, not really, because we know Joey plays fast, but I would take a bit more time really thinking about what does that mean that my opponent played vid there.
Yeah, but even if he thinks he's setting something up, he can't really block it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Ori does draw into Ol Finds is a very nice play that he's going to put down here. So the blinks are L and E for those scoring at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that will give him the lead for the first time in a while.
That vid spot is going to become so important now.
Yeah, and Joey again missed an A. I guess he can block it with E now plays or something making Vide, V-I-D-E. But it's not exactly how he'd want.
But you don't want to be
that.
blocking that spot now that you're down.
Oh. Is he? Yeah, I guess he is down a decent amount.
Yeah, so my guess is, if anything, he'll try to make a play near the Topi area to open up a different side of the board now that he is down. I mean, yeah, you don't want to be bingoed on there, but the good thing from Joey's perspective is both blinks were used there. And so so we happen to see that given the tiles in the pool, Ori drew a pretty drecky rack.
But he did draw all of the A's.
He drew all of the A's and all of the E's.
Yeah. So now he can just sit on those A's hoping to draw into a good play there.
Yeah, if we could show the unseen pool, if that's available at this point, that'd be great. Yeah, so we can see he drew all of the A's, all of the E's, and one of the I's, leaving IOU as the only vowels in the bag and leaving a bunch of consonants. So, yeah, it's really interesting how Joey's going to respond here, but I think he has to open the right side of the board. Something like ILL, I-L-L, I think seems like a natural idea to give an S lane and keep a very nice leave of tights.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So, yeah, I'll also turn to the chat. I forgot to look. So Stiletto. Oh my God, Stiletto! How did we miss that?
Oh my God, that place.
Oh wow, totally missed
that.
Oh wait, no, sorry, that's a phony. It's Stiletto.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, two.
Oh, because he needs two of each.
There'd be a third T there.
Yeah. I was like, wow, how did we miss that?
I was gonna say like.
Okay, so he just goes with still here.
Huh. I don't know. I think something,
I guess he wanted to score more points, play off more tiles, hope to draw one of the A's.
Yeah. And he does draw the other S.
So now in Ori's spot, just play like AA on top of or under still to block those lanes.
Or just area.
Well, yeah, it's a good point Annette makes that he has the last three A's, so he
doesn't have to worry about the vid spot at all. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, he can just block elsewhere.
So, like, Realia is a really nice idea. So, one thing that Still did that's nice for Joey is a play like ILL didn't score enough to allow... Right, like, if he played ILL before, Ori could really have his sweet time and block with really few points because he had enough of a lead. Still throws the gauntlet to Ori, and he's only up 13 points. He can't take very few points.
Yeah, I guess he's not up enough maybe to warrant just blocking.
So really, it's an interesting decision point for Ori where his 20-plus point plays are in the spot where he has all three A's, right, to make Avid. And so... Yeah, he could do that and exhaust the spot, or he could try blocking in the area that he knows Joey could actually hit. And but that set scores so few. So he'll really need to kind of work out a few different kinds of scenarios. I know when I'm in these situations, I look at the pool and try to see a set of sample racks, right? So I'll think, what kind of scenarios could I be facing? And so if I'm looking at, okay, well, if Joey has the W and the G's, what will that game look like? Where Joey will basically need to score to stay. If Joey's most of the bingo tiles, and I'll try to see how often I'll win in different kinds of scenarios and really try to evaluate, if I have the time, obviously, which sorts of plays are best for which kinds of racks.
There's a decent suggestion in chat here of playing ARE on A2, which still leaves that avid spot open and scores a decent amount of points.
Yeah.
With AE, road, and E now?
Yeah.
That looks pretty good.
That looks good. I think one good thing about that is it leaves a couple more tiles in the bag. Realia plays off 5 tiles, leaving 1 in the bag, which puts Joey in a good position to be able to do an out and 2 sequence. Even though he'd still be drawing 1 tile, he could potentially just outscore Ori without even needing to play a bingo, because Realia barely does not score that much. So I think, leaving 3 or 4 tiles in the bag, or even 2, honestly, would make this position more tough for Joey. Something like AA, which Ori does play, I think is nice. Still blocking all those lanes. There's maybe an occasional 9, but I think that end game timing is really important. And yeah, Ori maybe took that into account.
Yeah. This is interesting. So, I mean, one thing that does do playing AA is it tells Joey that Ori has the last A for sure. Otherwise, Avid would have come down last turn. So, Joey can safely eliminate any sort of tries to draw an A here. So, that really makes his decision-making looking at 9s through either the AI or AL, where Ori just played, or getting a bingo ending in the O if he's going to go the bingo route. I think he'll probably realize pretty quickly that that doesn't seem that likely, and he'll need to figure out a scoring sequence to overtake Ori.
Yeah, I think from Joey's point of view, looking in the bag, there aren't really any scoring tiles that he's that worried about Ori scoring with in the avid spot. Like, whatever he has there isn't going to score that much unless he has a W. And if he does, it's not going to be like a very long word.
So... this is going to be interesting. And
yeah,
so
I think if I was Joey here, I would just be trying to score as much as possible.
And the chat points out re-raise does fit for Ori, making road
and
Avid.
Oh my god.
Great find by the chat. We're focused on Joey right now, and I think he has to deduce
That's amazing.
I think he has to deduce that Ori has the A already, and he needs to score enough. Now, that could mean he does make a play over there to sort of obstruct that area, but I'm not sure what that would be. He has Teg set up potentially right now. Maybe he's looking to go... Oh, well, no, TOD isn't the word.
I think that would be, parallel to Topi's Tegs would play, which might be where he's looking. Just for trying to, come up with some sort of sequence that might outscore. The problem is, I think that would empty the bag and allow Ori, even if he doesn't play his bingo, to just, go out before Joey, pretty likely. So I bet Joey will keep thinking about this turn because it's pretty tough here. There's a lot to think about, especially with that consideration with the A likely being on Ori's rack for Avid.
Yeah, it's definitely a very tricky spot. I don't know what I would do here if I was Joey.
Yeah, and the chat does point out, what is this, poker with Ori being able to play re-raise? But someone points out that Neg would fit blocking that spot, and it is an interesting idea as well.
But doesn't score enough though.
Neg making node and E now. I mean, it doesn't empty the bag is the thing.
Yeah.
Tegs, I think empties the bag, which
there's 4 in the bag. Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you're looking to do a 3-tile play,
Guest on the other side making Vide. I think scores a bit more than Neg, so he might think of that. And still leaves 1 in the bag. Same with Neg, which is, it's a little better than emptying.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be emptying in this spot.
Yeah, but I think he really has to be breaking this down into Ori will have the A for sure. So what sort of plays fit there? From his perspective, re-raise is possible. Warrior is also a word, but I'm not sure if that fits. I'm trying to see other bingos in the bag, and he's just not going to play in that area. I think he probably Yeah, I think he deduced that if Ori doesn't have a bingo there,
and he
Tegs
sees
is the play.
re-raise. Yeah.
And yeah, instantly.
Nice find. What a great fit.
Yeah.
That is not what Joey wanted to see.
Yeah, I wonder if Joey was hoping Ori just had a really vowel heavy rack maybe and wasn't able to score, so Tegs could maybe help him outscore him occasionally. But
yeah, I don't mind his thought process
really
there. I don't think he necessarily
Yeah.
needs to block that spot. I think he just got very unlucky that Ori had one of the very few racks that fit perfectly.
He walks away.
He's tilted.
Wow. So one thing that does is so this round there were multiple 14 and 6s. Joey, Michael Fagan, Ori were all 14 and 6. Ori now pulls into 15 and 7. We'll see if Michael Fagan also pulls into 15 and 7. But this division has tightened up a lot standings wise. If Jackson Smiley wins again, for instance, he'll also be 14 and 7. It will be a tight race, and we have a full day of games tomorrow. In the morning, we're going to show the CSW division. In the afternoon, we'll show NWL in advance of the final day in 2 days. So, yeah, in the meantime, maybe we should look briefly at the standings. I don't know if I know we talked about that feature potentially. Production team, if it's possible to flip to the standings pages, maybe we could do that for a second. So we'll do that in 15 seconds. Thanks so much to Christian K for helping us out here.
Yeah, and it looks like Joey's game was one of the first ones done, if not the first. I'm not seeing any results in yet for Division 1. So it just goes to show, very fast game. Both players left with more than 10 minutes. So
yeah, it might be a while until the standings are going to be updated.
Yeah. Well, let's look briefly at the call-in standings, just because that's how we'll start tomorrow, and we haven't been looking at those for the past few games. So we can see in NWL. So this is the NWL ones right now, and we can see this first result coming in. So we'll flip back to that in a sec. But if we look at the Collins division quickly before we sign off, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So we can see Wasim and Matthew are the top two, and we saw them play each other yesterday, going into this final round at least, and they're playing each other again right now. So they're in contention. We've seen Alec and Ben also on stream, so they're in contention still as well. And don't count out Sammy Okasaga, a really good player, I think from Nigeria, has lived in the States for a while.
Yeah, he's actually from Maryland, so very local. I think maybe even Baltimore. So this is right at home for him.
So, we'll likely see a lot of these players in the first 4 games tomorrow on stream. In the meantime, though, we're going to take the night off. Any final thoughts, Chloe?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great being here. I'm excited to see how the rest of the games go tomorrow. Hopefully no more technical issues. Great job, stream team, for resolving that smoothly.
Yeah, and I just threw some thanks in the chat. And so just definitely thank all the people involved. If you see them, they're doing a great job here. I didn't mean to interrupt you in that. I just wanted to call out, good job, everyone.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the exact same thing. I mean, you're all doing a great job. And even though we had some technical difficulties, I think the stream went pretty smoothly. Otherwise, we got to see some great Scrabble. I'm excited to be back again on Wednesday. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in a final plug, I'm just going to put the play link in the chat. If you're new to this Scrabble scene and liked what you saw and thought, hey, I want to get involved too and play, go to scrabbleplayers.org/info. Thank you to Scopely for helping out with this live stream, and we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m.